So you're down to 16 and change, and you're just a teenager at marriage.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 actors who were way younger than their characters.
When you are a name living forever in history, as the most glorious shining light of youth, forever young, forever inspiring.
Anything to get a little distraction from life. Reality. And it worked. For a while.
So it seems we have a case of fraud.
For this list, we'll be looking at movie and TV characters who had years more life experience than the actors playing them. Let us know which age difference shocked you the most in the comments below. Number 10. Gwyneth Paltrow, Seven. When they filmed Seven, Paltrow was 22 years old, and her husband in the film, Brad Pitt, was 31.
Serpico's gotta go.
Yeah, well, I might want to get rid of this little crusty. This eye, Serpico.
Did you get it?
Got it?
Good.
However, since the characters' ages in the film aren't specifically mentioned, this one will require a little detective work. Brad Pitt was a detective, which means the character was at least in his mid to late 20s, but more likely in his 30s, as Pitt was.
It surprises me. It really does.
And yes, an age difference between spouses of about 10 years isn't so out of the ordinary. But here's the catch. These two were supposed to have been high school sweethearts.
Pretty hokey, huh? You know something? I knew on our first date that this was the guy I was gonna marry.
So, unless Pitt's Detective Mills repeated his senior year 5 or 6 times, we're gonna say that Paltrow was a good deal younger than her character. Number 9. Carey Mulligan, The Dig. The 2021 film The Dig tells the story of the excavation of the Sutton Hoo estate in the 1930s. One of the main characters of the film is estate landowner Edith Pretty, played by actress Carey Mulligan.
My interest in archaeology began like yours when I was scarcely old enough to hold a trowel. My childhood home was built on a Cistercian convent. I helped my father excavate the apse.
And while the response to her performance was generally positive, there were those that questioned the casting, given Mulligan's age. You see, at the time of the events in the film, Edith Pretty was 56 years old, whereas Mulligan was 35 during filming.
Life is very fleeting. I've learnt that. It has moments you should seize.
Also, 58-year-old Ralph Fiennes plays Basil Brown in the film, who, in real life, was 5 years younger than Edith.
As the finder of this magnificent ship, would you please take the treasure up to the house?
Yes, Mrs. Pretty.
Thank you, all very much.
Number 8. Jennifer Lawrence, Joy. Director David O. Russell has made a number of films featuring a main female character in her 30s. And on at least 3 occasions, he's cast Jennifer Lawrence, an actress in her 20s. In 2015's Joy, Lawrence was 24, while the character, Joy Mangano, was 34 when the main events in the film took place.
I always think it's amazing how time works like that.
Jennifer was 23 when she played a woman in her early to mid-30s in American Hustle. And in Silver Linings Playbook, her character was in her mid to late 30s, while Lawrence was just 21 years old.
Old enough to have a marriage and to not wind up in a mental hospital.
Besides the age discrepancies, what these performances all have in common is that Lawrence earned an Oscar nomination for each, taking home the statue for Silver Linings Playbook. Number 7. Lindsay Lohan, Just My Luck. In Just My Luck, Lohan played Ashley Albright, a woman who has had nothing but good luck her whole life.
Maggie, you've known me since the 7th grade, right? Okay, will you please tell her that I'm not lucky?
Well, you were voted prom queen at Franklin High.
So,
We went to Jefferson.
Then one day, she kisses Jake Harden, played by Chris Pine, a man who has always been unlucky, and their fortunes are switched.
so does that mean that he took my luck from me?
Maybe he needed it more than you.
So he stole it? That little whack-kissing bandit?
The film came out in 2006, just a couple of months before Lindsay turned 20. However, the character of Ashley is probably closer to 30 given her life and position at the public relations firm where she works. Her co-star Pine was a more believable 25, 6 years older than Lohan.
What's the scam?
Let's just say I know what it's like to be SOL.
Number 6. Keira Knightley, Love Actually. Keira Knightley played Juliet in the much-beloved 2003 romantic comedy Love Actually when she was 18 years old.
I know you've never particularly warmed to me. No, don't argue.
So how old was Juliet? Well, we don't know for sure. What we do know is that she's getting married and moving into a nice home with her husband, while his best friend has held a torch for Juliet for quite some time.
You never talk to me. You always talk to Peter. You don't like me.
And while it may be technically possible that Juliet was 18 at the time, the more likely answer is that she was at least in her mid-20s, if not older.
Oh, bingo. That's lovely.
Number 5. Scarlett Johansson, Lost in Translation. In 2003, while Keira Knightley was a teenager playing a character in her 20s, Scarlett Johansson was doing the same thing.
I just don't know what I'm supposed to be. You know? I tried being a writer, but I hate what I write.
When she was cast opposite Bill Murray in Sofia Coppola's Lost in Translation, Johansson was not the big-time superstar she is today. She was just a 17-year-old, relatively unknown actress.
Does it get easier?
No. Yes. It gets easier.
Oh, yeah? Look at you.
In the film, she plays a lonely wife left alone in a Tokyo hotel by her photographer husband.
I wasn't doing anything, so I came along, and we have some friends that live here.
It was a breakout role for Johansson, who, although not legally allowed to drink alcohol in real life, was playing a 22-year-old character in the movie. Number 4. Sarah Canning, The Vampire Diaries. Okay, boys and girls, time for some math. Actress Sarah Canning first appeared in the pilot episode of The Vampire Diaries, which aired in 2009. Canning was born in 1987, which would have made her, yes, that's right, 22 years old at the time.
Wait, I got this. Don't stay out late. It's a school night.
Well done, Aunt Jenna.
Now, we also know that Canning's character on the show, Jenna Summers, was born in Mystic Falls in 1980, which would have made her 29 at the time of the pilot episode.
I've become my worst nightmare. The authority figure who has to violate a 15-year-old's privacy.
And for those wondering how age works with vampires, Jenna didn't turn until 2010. So for those first few episodes, we have a legit 7-year age difference.
The day that the lawyers called to tell me that I was going to become your guardian, you know what my first thought was? Isn't there someone else who can do this?
Number 3. Angelina Jolie, Alexander. Not only was Oliver Stone's 2004 film Alexander a box office and critical disappointment, it also had a few glaring age issues when it came to the main characters, particularly Angelina Jolie.
How can you behave so shamelessly in public?
Because it was meant to be.
Jolie played Queen Olympias, the mother of Alexander the Great, played by Colin Farrell. The first age issue has to be the fact that at the time of the film's release, Farrell was 28, while Jolie was only 29.
I taught you my heart, Alexander. And by Zeus and Dionysus, you grew beautiful.
Damn your sorcerous soul.
Your soul is mine, Alexander.
But as it applies to her being way younger than her character, the real Olympias was 19 when she gave birth to Alexander the Great, and he became the king of Macedon at the age of 20. Which means that throughout much of the film, Olympias is in her 40s.
Return to Babylon and strengthen your center. Or come home to Macedonia and reorganize, but do not chase your dream further east. Your life and mine depend on it.
Number 2. Sasha Peterson, Pretty Little Liars.
Friends share secrets. That's what keeps us close. Drink up.
It's already hard to believe that a 15-year-old could be as manipulative and dishonest as Alison De Laurentiis. So what about a 13-year-old? Yep, Sasha Peterson was just 12 years old when she started filming the Pretty Little Liars pilot. Sure, it's just 3 years difference, but if you've ever met a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old, you know that gap is fairly large.
Oh, honey, you didn't even know me when you knew me.
And speaking of little age differences, Peterson's castmate Bianca Lawson, who also played a 15-year-old on the show, was actually 31 when they shot the pilot.
You okay with that?
Yes, I think I am.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Estelle Getty, The Golden Girls. Picture it. It's 1985 and NBC premieres a show about 4 older women living together in Miami. 3 of the characters, Rose, Dorothy, and Blanche, are in their 50s. But the 4th, Sophia, played by Estelle Getty, is 79, give or take a few years, at the start of the series.
No matter how bad things get, remember these sage words. You're old, you're sad, get over it.
What makes this so great is that Betty White and Bea Arthur, who played Rose and Dorothy, were both in their 60s. And Getty, at 62 years old, was actually the second youngest actress on the show.
Now we can break out that bottle of champagne we've been saving.
That means she was 17 years younger than her character. A full Scarlett Johansson in Lost in Translation.
Excuse me, Rose, have I given you any indication at all that I care?
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo. And be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.